What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Hero or Zero here on the Heroes for Hire podcast. My name is Shaun Meehan, and joining me as always is intergalactic banking manager Conor Lawler.
Wait, do you want to open a loan or do you want a spaceship?
Oh!
Something like that.
I was wondering how you'd improv your way out with that.
I'm not good at improv. You know this about me.
Conor, did you not hear yourself with the lone spaceship discussion earlier? That was beautiful.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good. If you don't know, if this is your first episode, whenever Shaun likes to introduce me for his episode of Hero or Zero, he throws to me a random title that I just have to go off of, and it gets more and more absurd the longer we do this.
That's true, and also I forget to think of one until the very minute I start talking.
Which actually, to be fair, pretty good improv by yourself.
What? Just thanks very much, sir.
Well, this is Hero or Zero, Shaun, where we cover one comic book character every single week, and we talk their good points and their bad points, and we just generally give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. Now, normally I do DC characters, and Shaun does Marvel characters. Last week I did a little known character called the Trickster, which means, Shaun, it is your week. So what do you have lined up? Some sort of terrible Marvel character.
Oh,
they're so bad.
I thought we'd get away 1 week without him insulting the things I like.
Those movies will never make money, is what I say.
Oh,
Go
he's
on.
not read the news recently.
Or for the last decade.
Before I do this report, and look, if you've seen the title and clicked on it, it's your fault already.
Okay.
But I just want to
I'm
preface
stuck
this.
here. I have to be here.
You have to be here.
You can leave, guys.
And look, no, this isn't mad spoilers for anything at all, but I just want to say, spoilers for everything to do with Marvel ever. So I'm talking movies and comics and whatever TV shows just happen to be out at the time.
It seems like a very broad spoiler warning.
And really, you would think that's going in. You should be alright with that, listening to a show like this, where we break down a comic book character. But this week, I am covering Pietro Maximoff, a.k.a. Quicksilver, Conor.
Right, okay. So I can see why you're saying spoiler warnings for all sorts of stuff. Yes.
Exactly. Just so everyone's aware, and we're not naming anything in specifics, but maybe listen to this episode after you've watched WandaVision.
Yes.
Perfect.
Specifically, that one show that we're putting the spoiler warning up, but at the same time, watch WandaVision.
Just watch it. It's good. Okay.
Watch it. There's nothing to do with him in it, but just watch it.
Not at all. But maybe also watch Age of Ultron or something.
That's a good one. Watch that one. Oh, you're also going to need to watch X-Men.
All of the X-Men movies, correct.
So Fox as well. Fox is included in that spoiler warning.
Everything to do with Fox. Alien versus Predator as well. No, so this, I just want to preface this. This is a character that has been around for ages in comics. So there's a lot to cover here. Some of it has been rewritten, probably since I wrote this report up. But we're just going to get through it. It'll give you an overview of the character anyway. So Pietro Maximoff, in his origin, was kidnapped from Serbia and brought to Wundagore Mountain, the base of the High Evolutionary. All you need to know about the High Evolutionary: he's a mad scientist who experiments on animals and turns them into people.
Right, but what happens if he's already a people?
He and his twin sister Wanda were experimented on. And
Turn into raccoons.
Exactly. But they were the children of a Romany couple, Django and Maria Maximoff. However, the High Evolutionary
lock Django up.
And then
unchained.
He said, fuck's sake. Conor, this is a 7-page report.
I'm going to stop. I'm in one of those moods on a Friday evening. But go on.
It's a good mood to be in. So he was disgusted with the results his experiments had on quote-unquote regular humans. So he returned them to the village disguised as regular mutants. So this Pietro and Wanda are not mutants per se. They're mutates in the same way that Deadpool is a mutate. But they were regular humans.
He tortured them Yeah, he tortured them until their mutant powers came to the fore.
Yeah, that's one way of creating a mutate in the Marvel Universe. For Pietro and Wanda, it was a lot of just weird science experiments going on.
Okay. Vague science experiments. We don't need to know the specifics. It's
the broadest strokes you can manage.
It's like in half the superheroes, water falls on them. Or something in a chemical that's just in a jar, just drops on them. Now,
mix in with that.
Now I can fly. Who cares?
So, as adolescents, Wanda and Pietro discovered that they had unusual superhuman abilities.
Okay.
When their father Django began to steal food to feed his starving family, enraged villagers attacked the Romany camp. Using his phenomenal speed, Pietro fled from the camp with his sister. Now, the circumstances of their separation from their parents, from their only family, was so traumatic that it wasn't until well into adulthood that they remembered anything about their childhood. For the next few years, they wandered Central Europe, just kind of living off the land.
And the backstory came after they appeared in comic books, I can only assume, which
Absolutely,
is normally what happens.
it did.
Yeah, you have a cool comic book character. They do it all the time, where they introduce a cool comic book character, and then 5 years down the line, they're like, "Oh well, this is how they got there." It's probably
why didn't he mention that beforehand?
Exactly. Well, he's got amnesia. Obviously, he doesn't remember.
So one day, and this might, conjure up some memories of certain MCU films. Okay. Wanda accidentally caused a house to burst into flame through her hex powers, which she could not yet control. The best MCU film, correct. Superstitious town people began chasing her, thinking that she was a witch.
What age is she currently, by the way?
So she's about, as far as I know, she's like 15, 16, just about adult, but still a kid, really. But way out of her depth. Despite Pietro's attempt to defend her, they were soon overpowered and were about to become victims of mob violence when someone came to their rescue, Conor.
Oh.
The man in question was named Magneto, and he
Wait a minute, Shaun.
Yeah?
Sorry. That man's a bad man. I don't want to spoil this for you, because there's a spoiler warning here for yourself. Magneto, not the nicest man.
Well, Conor, I must say, it's a very astute observation you've just made.
Well, I mean, other than Michael Fassbender, Irish hero, Michael Fassbender playing him, absolute hero when he does that, but don't get me started, he's normally a bad guy in the comic books, is what I'm saying. Indeed,
but to his credit, he doesn't try and hide it, Conor, because Magneto recruited Pietro and Wanda into service in his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Wonder what they're up to.
He provided the two with costumes and named them the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
I wonder why he picked those two specific kids, Shaun.
Oh, it's just random happenstance, Conor. It'll never come up again.
He just came across them. What can you do?
So for months they served Magneto out of a sense of obligation and fear of what he might do if they decided to leave. As members of the Brotherhood, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch aided Magneto in his terrorist campaigns against humanity and helped him to combat the original members of the X-Men. They kept going with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants for a very long time until Magneto was one day defeated by an alien called the Stranger. Doesn't really matter to the story. After Magneto's defeat, he was transported away from Earth by the Stranger, and the Maximoff twins returned to their home in Transia. But the twins later...
I was just going to say that you can kind of see where the MCU was going, like through the introduction of them as they're part of the bad guys, and they're in Sokovia, and it's not great.
Yeah,
so they're being experimented on, and the Avengers turn up. You can kind of see what they were going for, but they can't use Magneto, so they need to put them somewhere else that's bad.
Exactly, it's like they took out certain nouns in their origin story and replaced Magneto with Hydra.
Exactly.
So now the twins would later return to America and would both end up becoming members of the Avengers, having kind of renounced their past. So, once they were in the Avengers, Quicksilver was seriously injured during a battle against the Sentinels, who, for those that don't know, are giant kind of robots that hunt down mutants.
And they're normally seen in the X-Men films.
Yeah, because they're specifically made to hunt down X-Men. The interesting fact is that they keep targeting Spider-Man, and he has to he'll be punching a Sentinel in the face, and he'll be like, I keep telling you, I'm not a mutant.
That is interesting that they just keep picking on him. Technically, that would imply a whole host of other questions, that maybe the spider brought out his mutant gene and Peter Parker was a mutant before the bite.
Yeah, and then you get the argument, is he a mutate? And does that make it any better where Sentinels are concerned?
As we always say here, it's comic books. It's as vague as it wants to be.
Exactly. So he was seriously injured in this battle. Now, he was taken to receive medical care by Crystal, who is a member of the royal family of the Inhumans. Months passed before Quicksilver was well enough to contact his companions to tell them what had happened to him. Now, during that time, Quicksilver became romantically involved with Crystal, and the two married after a brief courtship.
Jeez, I was going to say that was a fast courtship, but who am I talking about?
Oh, to Speedy by himself.
Mr. Speedy McSpeederson. He's skipping all the bases.
Straight to 10th.
Do you know how the bases work?
It's a scale from 1 to 23, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how baseball works, yeah. He's going to the 24th base. This is definitely going to be a home run.
He's at the bottom of the 17th. So the Inhumans, the Avengers and the Fantastic Four attended the wedding held in the Inhumans refuge of Atalan, which was then located in the Himalayan mountains.
Okay.
Now here's the bit where a bunch of stuff gets rewritten. I prefaced this to Conor beforehand, and your only response was, alright.
I think that's most of my response to everything you say. Alright, let's see what happens.
Just let him off with it. He'll tire himself out eventually.
He'll sleep tonight. I'm telling you.
So not long after the birth of his and Crystal's first child named Luna, Quicksilver learned the truth. The Marvel Wiki was very strict about this. Quicksilver learned the alleged truth about his parentage.
Alleged truth.
So
interesting.
That himself and Wanda were, in fact, children of Magneto. So
wait, what?
The man they met earlier, Conor.
The man, he's been in their lives for so long.
And
double cross. You can see the comic book panel and the comic book cover of the next issue.
Oh, absolutely. It's Magneto with a family photo album.
Yeah, Magneto, he has his arms out and the two of them are looking scared. And they're no, we don't want to go with you.
So, as the story goes, Magneto's wife was a gypsy named Magda. She fled from Magneto, terrified of the sudden manifestation of his power and his intentions of world domination.
That would put you off.
Yeah, it doesn't go down well on a first date.
Even if you were oh, I'm superpowered, cool, I want to be a terrorist and take over the world, you're losing points with me. I feel like we should get the check.
So Magda found her way to the tiny nation of Transia, finding refuge with Bova. Now, Bova is a woman evolved from a cow by the High Evolutionary. I knew he'd laugh then.
It's just the way you said that sentence. You know how it is. It's a woman. She's transformed from a cow. It's so normal. It's just run-of-the-mill woman that turns into a cow. It's a classic story.
Day on day. There's hundreds of cases.
Boy meets girl. Girl is transformed from a cow. It's the same thing.
So Magda, Magneto's wife, gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, and Bova was her midwife. So Magda was still afraid of her husband, and she decided to leave the children with Bova. Now, several nights...
Did she move away?
Oh, you're milking this a little bit now.
Okay. Otherwise, anyway, what was you up to?
Oh, very good. Very good. Conor, I have no beef with you, alright?
Right, just come on. We're never going to get this done.
So several nights later, a vacationing couple. Now this couple, which is really interesting, is a character called the Whizzer and his girlfriend Miss America. Now the Whizzer is a golden age speedster in Marvel Comics.
Like Jay Garrick, the original Flash.
Exactly, and he's still around, but he's not like active duty anymore. So that couple also needed refuge, as Miss America was pregnant there. Unfortunately, that couple's child was stillborn, and Miss America died in childbirth.
Jesus.
So Bova hoped to kind of give Magda's children to the Whizzer, to this hero. But upon hearing of his wife's death, the Whizzer was driven nearly insane with grief and fled the mountain.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's a really bad plan to, like, wait until the mother of his child and the love of his life, both of them die, and then go, we've got 2 more kids for you here. Just,
here's
Mr.
a bunch of responsibility.
Anyway, sure, look, here are 2 twins you've never met. I know you're grieving, but at the same time, they need to be fed for lunchtime, so get a move on.
So what Bova did instead was she presented the twins to the High Evolutionary, who found Django and Maria Maximoff, who were a couple camped nearby who had lost their own twin children during World War II. So he was like, look, there's these 2 kids, they need parents. And so they cared for the children as if they were their own. Confronting Quicksilver and his sister, Magneto hoped to sway his children to rejoin the Brotherhood of Mutants. But Quicksilver denounced Magneto for his callous treatment of them when they were members and refused to believe that he has changed his ways.
He said, you're not my real dad. Then he stomped up the stairs, shut the door, and he just crossed his arms and said, no! I'm not going back to be a terrorist.
And then he just turned up the speaker and Blink 182 blared.
You don't understand, Dad. This is real metal, and you can't control it.
So his whole thing is just like, no, look, you were a dick to us in the Brotherhood when we weren't your kids. I wager you're still going to be a pretty big dick to us.
That makes sense. I can see the logic.
Exactly. So, being a man of action... while with the Inhumans, Quicksilver volunteered his services to head the Inhumans' militia and become an officer. However, during the period of his service, the Inhumans had no call for military activity.
Great stuff. I think that's a really cushy job, to be fair.
Oh, he's just sitting back in an office all day.
Yeah, he's like, I can run real fast, but why would I bother? I might as well put the feet up and rest for the afternoon. Sure, we're not fighting any wars.
So Quicksilver's neglect of his wife led Crystal to become involved with another man.
No.
Learning of her infidelity, Quicksilver refused to forgive her and fled Atalan, vowing vengeance on her and all those he perceived as having wronged him.
I love a good vowing of vengeance before running away.
Oh, Quicksilver's a man who will vow vengeance at the smallest opportunity.
I will vow vengeance against all of you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to run away because I'm emotional. But when I come back, you're all getting it. So,
now this is a storyline you might be familiar with, Conor. The title of this section is House of M.
I do know this storyline, yes, go on.
When his sister lost her sanity and her control over her ever-increasing power...
and who's his sister again?
Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah, she's super powerful, isn't she?
She is indeed. She stars in WandaVision as well.
She does, yeah. People should watch that, really.
Watch WandaVision, guys. But Wanda killed several Avengers, leading to the Avengers actually disbanding because of it. She was taken into the custody of Magneto, who went to Professor X and asked him to try and help her. The treatments weren't successful, however, and as Wanda's condition worsened, the Avengers and X-Men met up to discuss what to do with her. Quicksilver found out about the meeting and that they were discussing euthanizing Wanda.
He's not going to be happy with that. He's going to vow revenge before running away.
He told his father, but Magneto, at the end of his rope, believed that it might be the right thing to do.
At the end of his rope, I just have the idea of Magneto, like, just a towel over his shoulder, and he's just in a shirt, and he's just like, but Dad, they're gonna kill her!
No buts!
Oh, look. I'm at my wit's end, Pietro. For God's sake! I have to do the washing up. Nothing gets done around here unless I do it. And I'm stressed.
In order to save his sister, Quicksilver convinced her to use her powers in tandem with Xavier's telepathy to warp reality and create a new world where they would all have what they wanted.
That's a plot twist. I mean, to come up with that plan, by the way, to be like, let's warp reality, I feel like to get to that plan, you have to go through at least 50 plans that are terrible to get to that batshit insane one.
We'll touch on this later in the report, but Quicksilver is always kind of walking a tightrope between losing his entire mind and being a regular person.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Wanda did as he asked, and she created a world ruled by Magneto, where mutants were a thriving majority, and Pietro and Wanda were treated as royalty. However, the new reality began to crumble when several heroes began to remember the old world, due to the powers of a girl called Layla Miller. So Layla was a mutant, but her power wasn't super obvious. Her power is that she can see through false realities, which probably the one person you don't want.
What are the chances? How unlucky can you get?
Of all the people you could have included in a fake reality.
We could have given her super speed, fucking big strength, like she can lift 15 cars, but no. You had to fuck it up, Wanda. For God's sake.
So, believing Magneto to be responsible, the heroes who had reclaimed their memory attacked him and his family in Genosha, which is like the island, it's a mutant stronghold.
Okay.
There, Layla Miller restored Magneto's memory as well, and the heroes realised that Quicksilver had been the one to manipulate Wanda into warping the reality. Furious over That's
interesting. I feel like Quicksilver is, to me, that I'm getting from this, because Wanda is one of the most powerful characters in Marvel, like, probably top 5. So when it comes to, like, he's just a guy who can run real fast, but he's the twin of one of the most powerful characters. So he's the guy in the fight in the schoolyard that's behind the big guy.
Yeah,
and
like
it's just like, yeah,
the
fuck him up, get him.
So, absolutely furious over what his son had done in his name, Magneto lashed out and killed Pietro.
Fuck.
So this finally drove Wanda over the edge. Angry that their father... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say she was already on the edge, and now she's over said edge.
Yeah, she just lost, like, her brother and best friend.
Okay.
So angry that their father had always put mutant kind before his children, Wanda restored reality again, only now with most of the former mutants depowered, including a revived Quicksilver.
Right, which would also imply that Layla also has no powers.
It depends. We will see.
Okay, right. She's still going to be there. Wanda, one person. Just the one.
Just deal
Make
with
sure
one
she's
person.
fucked and then move on.
So Quicksilver's back, but he has no powers. As a result of losing... In one fell swoop, he lost his powers, because Scarlet Witch goes missing after this, by the way. So he loses his sister as well, and he loses his reputation as an Avenger, because he created a false reality for everyone to live in.
Yeah, that wouldn't go down well.
So Quicksilver fell into a deep depression. Now, when a mourning Spider-Man confronted Quicksilver for his role in creating the House of M reality, Quicksilver jumped off a roof in an attempt to commit suicide.
Jesus.
He seriously injured himself and might have broken his spine. However, he was saved by his ex-wife Crystal, who teleported him to an inhuman healer.
So Crystal's still a nice person.
Crystal is like a fucking light in the darkness. Crystal is just so nice.
Okay, fair enough. That's okay.
So, believing he had become suicidal only upon the loss of his powers, the Inhumans took Quicksilver to their refuge on the moon. Deciding that he could not stand life as a human. Sorry, go ahead.
I love that that's just a line. And people who don't know much about the Inhumans, that's all the context they're getting. You know they're based on the moon. They're having to go back there.
And
they live on the moon.
And I'm actually going to do a very brief run-through of Inhumans here. They get all their powers from a thing called Terrigenesis, which is where they're exposed to a special kind of mist, and that gives them powers. That's all you need
Cocaine.
to know. So, Pietro asked Black Bolt, who is the king of the Inhumans, for permission to undergo Terrigenesis to restore his mutant abilities. But he was denied on the simple reason that he wasn't an Inhuman.
Okay.
While on the moon... It makes sense. While on the moon...
It makes sense. I mean, you don't belong here, kid. Go back to Earth.
So, Quicksilver reunited with his daughter Luna, who he hadn't seen for several years, and she taught him about the process of Terrigenesis. So what he did after this is he violently broke into the sacred Terrigen cavern.
Of course.
Knowingly desecrating the holiest, most sacred place imaginable for the Inhumans.
Quicksilver's such a dick!
He's an absolute prick at this point.
Yeah.
And he exposes himself directly to the well of the Terrigen mist.
Yeah, but that's the part in every single movie where this guy would be overwhelmed with power and he'd turn into a big monster that has too much power and eventually die.
You're not far off. He developed the ability to time travel, which would in turn gravely deteriorate his health.
Makes sense.
So he driven by the responsibility to restore the mutant population that in his mind he's as at fault as Scarlet Witch is for depowering most of the mutants.
I would say more so, because he's
the
one who kept pushing
ringleader
her.
In that.
Yeah, I'd say he's feeling sorry for himself, but at the same time, he's the reason it happened.
So what he did is he began working with older versions of himself to steal the Terrigen crystals that generate the mist.
Right.
He even manipulated his daughter, who craved only to be with her father, into helping him.
Oh, Quicksilver!
So eventually he stole Terrigen crystals and used his daughter and the Inhumans' dog Lockjaw to escape. So Lockjaw is a dog that can teleport.
You know how it is. They live on the moon, they have a dog that can teleport. We're not going to do a report on them. That's just what you know.
I will never touch the Inhumans. I find them confusing and scary.
Yeah, exactly.
And Quicksilver's about to become even more of a bad dude.
So you're telling me that he's going to go further down? I thought this was the well. I thought he was already at the bottom.
Oh, we've not even got halfway down the well.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay.
Quicksilver then exposed Luna, who is his own daughter, by the way, to the Terrigen mist against her will.
Make her cool. Make her powerful.
Well, what she got was the ability to see and manipulate souls and emotions. And when she looked at her father, she saw a dark core spreading inside him.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, also that's a really fucking cool power, but also super powerful.
Oh, it's broken, but
yeah.
She can just see what anyone means, in their soul. So,
Great.
So he travelled to Genosha to restore the powers of the resident mutants, by making themselves believe that he had restored his own powers. He tricked them into exposing themselves to the Terrigen mist, and it restored their powers, but also sent them out of control. So it put some into a coma, and it straight up just killed others.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So after repeated exposure to the mists, he gained the ability to make Terrigenesis happen with a touch of his hands. So he
fucking hell.
He restored the superhuman abilities of former mutants, but still with uncertain outcomes.
So he's just going around touching people, giving them either powers or killing them.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Right.
Right. And it gets more fucked, Conor.
Okay.
He later learned that when he touched mutants who still had their powers, he could overload them and thus take them out of commission for a while.
Jesus Christ.
As he walked away, Quicksilver appeared more mentally unstable than ever before, and he chose to embrace the destruction that lay ahead.
I did not know he went this evil.
Oh, he goes full, like, main comic villain for a good while.
Jesus! And that's so fascinating for a character that, like, I think a lot of people are just like, oh, he's the fast guy.
Yeah, like, he's the Flash for Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
So, once again left on his own, Quicksilver bathed in the Terrigen mists for at least 7 days, going so far as to absorb pieces of the crystals into his own body.
That's definitely going to go well.
He used the crystals to travel months into the future, farther than he ever had before, and he remained in the future for several days. He read in a newspaper of a war between the Inhumans and the United States that he ignited, and saw an explosion on the moon so big that one could see it with the naked eye. It was revealed to have been the destruction of Attilan, leading to Black Bolt's evil brother taking over the rule of the Inhumans.
So him and his actions have caused the moon to be blown up.
Yeah, so the way it works is that because he stole crystals from the Inhumans obviously want those back. Because they're like sacred to their whole culture. But
then it becomes a heist movie.
Pretty well, in a lot of ways, but it becomes a weird thing with the army. Because the army are like, okay, so you want us to just give these very volatile weapons back to you, no questions asked. People who live on the moon.
Which they would not be happy about.
Exactly. So this whole like Cold War thing starts, and then it brews into a full-on war, and the Earth bombs the Inhuman settlement on the moon.
Fucking hell.
All because of Quicksilver.
And he's just a guy that can run fast.
So, when the Inhumans came to get him back in the past, or which is now the present, I guess.
Oh, Jesus. We're not going to get into time travel.
So, Luna, his daughter, and Crystal, his ex-wife, realised that he had gone mad. He approached Only now. This is the final straw.
You know what? This is absolute. If he kills one more person, I'm going to have a stern word with him. Because he's after killing quite a few at this stage. Several of them are in comas as well. I have been giving him stern looks, but I'm going to have a word with him eventually.
So he approached Crystal and proclaimed that they could be a family again. But she told him that she had their marriage annulled after he had essentially kidnapped Luna from her.
Makes sense.
He then voluntarily took a beating from Black Bolt to, as he put it, get it out of the way. Because it was all part of a plan to bring him all the way to the bottom. To make him reach rock fucking bottom so that they could start to redeem him.
Right, okay.
And he told the Inhumans about, the way the future would work out, that Attilan would be bombed. And it's outside the scope of this report, but they took steps to avoid it.
Okay, makes sense.
And look, we're getting there, and thank you so much for sticking with this, by the way.
Also, I find it fascinating that he eventually became Magneto, but at an even bigger scale.
Oh, this is like... He took the beating. He didn't quite reach the full low, Conor, because Quicksilver then opened up a quote-unquote clinic in the mutant town in Genosha. Now believing himself to be a saviour, and that something greater had given him his gift to administer the divine test for mutant kind, restoring only those mutants who were quote-unquote deserving.
So he's basically telling people you can come in and I might give you superpowers or you might die.
Yeah, it caused so many more deaths and accidents than ever before.
Yeah, it would.
Because he's just going wild with it. While kind of on the rounds, he came across Layla Miller, who tried to kind of get him. He tried to get him killed, set up plans to kind of eliminate Quicksilver, because Layla has seen all of the House of M stuff happen, and she realises this is just a bad dude.
Yeah.
after this, Quicksilver deemed her evil for getting in his way.
He's such a petulant child. He's just like, someone's like, you're really bad. No, now you're evil. You're actually more evil than me.
So, after kidnapping and attempting to kill Layla, he was arrested and thrown into prison. So, that's his low, really, is where he's kidnapping a very, if not a child, a very young woman, and trying to kill her when she's been, like, she is a hero. She's done nothing but good all throughout the story.
Yeah.
So while in jail, he experienced a series of hallucinations of his sister, his ex-wife, his daughter, and his father. Throughout those hallucinations, he realised he had been spiralling because he had been drowning under the weight of expectations. But now he had hit rock bottom and had nothing more to lose. He also realised he didn't need the Terrigen crystals in his body anymore since they had, as he put it, done their job. Seeing a murder about to happen through the window of his jail cell, he snapped out of his hallucinations and found that his original speed powers re-manifested.
Fucking hell. Okay.
Escaping jail, Quicksilver rescued an innocent, rediscovered his desire to be a hero, and felt forgiven by God, which I don't think is something he can call.
That's absolutely comic book outrageous, by the way. That this whole dude's story is he turns into one of the worst people that have ever lived, killing people along the way just for fun, and then having the moon blown up.
Yep.
And then one day is just like, yeah, no consequences, sure, it's grand. Oh, I'll save someone. I'm forgiven.
He's just like, I'm done with that now. I won't do that again.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a few months where I was a genocidal maniac, wasn't it? That was fucking weird.
So, and that's where I'm going to stop the report. There's a whole bunch of stuff after that. But I think that, like, those are the most interesting Quicksilver stories to me, is his downfall and redemption, I guess.
There's no redemption. He's just an absolute dickhead.
He's an absolute prick. The way, actually, I don't touch on it in the report, but what Quicksilver does, because he's still a shit dude, is he tells everyone that he was being impersonated by a Skrull the whole time.
He's such a shithead. Oh, man.
It's such a shitbird thing to do. But everyone believes him.
Just the shithousery is what he's just committing shithousery everywhere, committing the absolute worst crimes, and then he's very similar to any 12-year-old, where he's just like, no, it was somebody else, like, it wasn't me, like, I'm class. Obviously, I was joking. Like, it wasn't me. When I said kill all humans, I was joking. So,
in terms of powers and abilities, then, he originally was capable at running at speeds of up to 175 miles per hour, which, you know, is incredibly fast. He was able to do that for about 4 hours constantly, before he had to reduce his speed and replenish his energy. However, he was upgraded in terms of powers, Conor.
No consequences, Shaun!
Until he was capable of easily reaching speeds between Mach 4 and Mach 5. Mach 4 being 3,080 miles per hour, and Mach 5 being 3,691. To put that in perspective, he's been observed he outran Thor's lightning bolts. He ran from Tibet to Indonesia in a few seconds. And he covered half of the circumference of the Earth in 92 seconds.
That's broken levels of speed, though.
And it's effortless as well for him. Like, it does not matter to him.
That's the level of speed that you get to where it's just impossible to defeat. There's no way he could lose.
No, like, he is functionally unbeatable if he just runs away.
Yeah, okay.
But
before he does, he's vowed revenge before he leaves.
Oh, that's a man who'll vow revenge and then run away at Mach 5, correct. So, and then to go along with that, because if he could just run that fast but he had a regular human body, he would die instantly. So he also has enhanced durability, superhuman reflexes, accelerated metabolism, superhuman stamina, superhuman agility, enhanced strength, He has quick intelligence, so he can process information at superhuman speeds. So if he reads 100 books in an hour, he can retain all that information.
And can he retain it forever?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. So he could just be the smartest person on the planet.
Absolutely. Again, to put it into context, there have been issues where he has taught himself to play a musical instrument in a few seconds.
Fucking hell. How could he read all those books and still be such a shithouse?
Yeah, you think he'd learn one about morals or the Bible or something.
just being nice.
So he also has inbuilt navigation. He can always find magnetic north, because if he couldn't, he would kind of just run into buildings.
You can always find Magneto North.
Oh, very good, Conor. And this is the most broken one. He has molecular acceleration and deceleration. Meaning he can vibrate his molecular structure at high speeds, which is a very sciencey, hand-wavy thing of saying he can pretty much walk through objects.
But I think the Flash has that as well. So I think it's just a thing with speedsters that they give them that.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. I think it's the natural progression for a speedster. It's if you move fast enough, you can kind of go through anything. Yeah,
your atoms are not solidified, so you can just slip through shit.
Exactly. And in terms of in terms of the Marvel 1 to 7 rating system, then durability. Guess what speed is rated as?
I would say 3.
3, just about above regular human. Yeah.
Just about above regular human. Yeah.
So he has a durability of 2, energy projection of 2, fighting skills of 4, intelligence of 3, speed of 7, and strength of 2.
That's pretty good, though. I think anybody with speed of 7 is basically unbeatable.
Yeah, most speed 7s are teleporters, where they can just essentially get away from a fight regardless. But he, his whole thing is just, he's quick. He's the fastest person.
Jesus Christ. I did not know that much about Quicksilver, but now I feel like I have a whole new aspect or view on the character.
Yeah, because he's not just the fast hero, he is the fast kind of villain for a lot of it.
Yeah, he's a massive villain. He's a villain for longer than he is a hero.
Kinda, yeah. And I just think it's really interesting when he's written as a villain, I think, and I think that's a good thing for them to play off as writers between him and Scarlet Witch. So Scarlet Witch is pretty much always an Avenger when she's not house of
because Wanda's always good. So it makes more sense for storylines if she's always good and he's just he's always on the wrong side of the tracks. He's always just off slightly, and she's just you're nearly there, but you're still a dickhead.
Yeah, but he's his father's son.
That's the thing. He's alleged father's son.
Alleged father. Which means it can be rewritten at any moment.
At any point, Shaun. Do you want me to take us out?
Yes, please, Conor.
If you want to support the show, you can head on over to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. And we have lots of movie reviews over there that if you want to check them out. And we have a brand new movie review coming out this weekend on Sunday, I believe. And I can very happily reveal the fact that it is going to be... I can reveal that we've plucked it from the hat, and it will be Spider-Man 3. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 that I feel there were some bad ones in it this month. And the one I thought of was Shaun Jamieson, one of our patrons, especially messaged us on Instagram to tell us to put Catwoman in the pile. And I felt he'd made 2 enemies that day. But... luckily, we didn't pull that out. I went, great! And then I seen it was Spider-Man 3 and I thought, I would have rathered Catwoman.
I'm pretty sure Catwoman is a shorter film.
Yeah. So if you want to support us, and if you want to listen to that review, that's coming out this weekend, but we've got loads of other reviews over there right now if you want to head on over. We do have a merch store if you want to get a t-shirt or a hoodie or a mug. Anything to support the show, that's in the description down below if you want to find a link to there. And most importantly, you can follow us on all the social media channels. We're on Facebook, and we have our own Facebook group, Detective Diverman's discussion group.
Great bunch of lads in there, and lasses.
A great bunch of lads and lassies. We've got Instagram, Heroes for Hire Podcast. Facebook is Heroes for Hire Podcast. And Twitter is Heroes for Hire Pod. The 4 is the number 4. But most importantly, you can tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, for God's sake.
Just for God's sake. So
I just get really worked up about this.
I have been Conor Lawler.
I have been Shaun Meighan.
I will see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.